Okay, so this is Ace,
And I'm Heather.
and today we're going to be talking about choosing love. This is just a little pillow talk, because we always get into these really deep conversations with one another when we're just hanging out, and we decided that it'd be a good idea just to hit record and see what comes out. And what we've been talking a lot about lately is choosing love, what that means to us, how it's evolved over the last year, and I would say it's evolved incredibly for me, definitely for you as well.
Yes.
So it's choosing love now for you compared to a year ago.
It's funny how when you're a certain point, you think you are where you want to be. And then you get where you want to be, and it's like I wasn't even close. So that being said, I always thought I was choosing love by giving more than I should have. And that led me to feeling more unloved, untaken care of, because I wasn't taking care of myself. And so over the last, I would say 2 years, year and a half, I started to choose myself more. And what I found was not only do I feel love more than I did, I have an abundance of love. And now when I can choose to give someone my attention, I give them more of my attention. It's more
Effective attention.
Yeah.
Which would also be affection.
Yes. And distractions. Phones specifically. I have observed people in conversations with people that they're really close to, that they love, and the phone goes off. And they immediately stop in that conversation and check their phone. And sometimes the other person keeps talking, but you can tell that the person on the phone isn't listening anymore. And it's really sad, because that's a virtual world. Yes, the person on the other end is real, but they're not in front of you in that now moment. And your attention needs to be on the people that are in your vicinity in that now moment.
What matters?
And what truly actually matters.
And what's the term matter? What is matter? It's reality, it's existence, it's tangible, material building blocks of life, the life that we're living here. We're not saying everything's the same, but the matter is what we are playing in, yet we're always giving our attention away to a world that doesn't matter and is completely virtual, and you're leaving your now experience to engage in the subjective realities of other experiencers, instead of just being in your experience with the one that you're choosing to experience with.
Mm-hmm. So now that I did my little spiel, what has the last year and a half, 2 years of choosing love for you been like, and your experience? What it means to you now?
Choosing love is non-logic. It's illogical, because our logical brains have been conditioned, programmed to think and believe in illusions. That's why we have to move into our hearts in order to love, is because the mind will convolute love with logic, and love is love. It's everything. And that's the psyop, and why our world is inverted, is because we're spending all our time in our heads and very little time in our hearts. So over the last 2 years, I've been choosing love by staying in my heart, or at least following that heart calling. What is my internal voice that makes everything feel better? What is that voice telling me or guiding me to do? And the more I surrender what it is I want, for what it is I need and desire, with all the intentions I've set, remembering I've asked for this from God, and God has delivered on everything. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it's the human experience. But for me to label what I've asked God for and to judge it is to belittle the experience that I'm having with you and with learning love and learning what love is and opening my heart to it. And love is a trust fall. It's a why not. My whole life has been why? And the more that I've asked the question why not, the more I've had pretty awesome experiences. But the one thing I wouldn't allow myself to have was love, because it was almost as if I knew I wasn't ready for it, and or it wasn't real between the people I was meeting and myself. But what you've shown me over the last year and a half is what true love is, what dedication is and commitment, what being an amazing human being that I aspire to be as well. You motivate me to become better. And your effort is everything to me, because it's the same effort I put into life. And now I have a partner, a true significant partner that I can walk my heartfelt path with, that makes it just suck a little less, because it is the road less traveled. And because of marketing and TV and movies and music and all these mechanisms that have sold us a vision, they told us a vision, they told us a vision that wasn't ours. And so now we compare ourselves to some other person's vision for our existence, convoluting what it is that we are already doing and already have. We are everything we need to be, and that's what love is. And the more that I've opened myself up to that idea from God, and then opened myself up to the idea from you, which I brought it into the physical and made it real through the experience with you, the more that my heart is opened, and the more I've begun to see the truth even beyond what I thought the truth was. And the truth is that everything outside our experience that we're choosing to share together, we're co-oping this RPG, this MMORPG, is fake. It's an illusion, it's a distraction, it's noise made to get you to look away from your now moments with the people you choose to be around, and focus on a reality that may exist at some point, but it's not yours, and it's causing us to lose focus on what is important and what we already have. If everyone just put their phones and tablets and computers and TVs down, we would have world peace in probably a day, because everyone would realize that everybody's not so bad, or your neighbors aren't crazy, and these animals and all this stuff. Though this stuff exists, and yes, there is a spiritual war going on, and there is all these things. However, again, it's our consciousness that is creating it. And if the whole world is reflecting this terrible, disgusting place, then what is happening in the collective's own personal baggage that most have not chosen to look at yet? Love is choosing to look at that, and you've done that with me.
Love is choosing to look within.
And not look away, because it's not pretty. It's not satisfying at every step. You're the first person that I've ever wanted to do this with, that brought not like forever value to the experience. And because I chose to be vulnerable with you and completely truthful from the jump. And the more we lean in, the more this is doable, even though it seems to get harder and more challenging. But at the end of the day, we're the ones making it challenging. So why do you think that choosing love has to first be a challenge so that we can learn to just kind of surrender into it.
The first thing I got when you asked that question is respect. To truly love something is to respect that something. And fear shows you that. Fear is showing you how important that individual is to you, or fear is what is used to not only control us, but it also helps us grow.
It's a paradox like most of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's how it's what your perspective about it is. So what about fear have you learned over the last year or two? And what does it now mean to you in comparison to what it used to mean?
I used to live in a lot of fear. And then I started to basically reclaim back my power from fear. I'm feeding my energy into fear. And I'm no longer choosing to do that. And because of that, I picked you up, right? Because that was scary, the fear of, now that we've built, this relationship, the fear of losing that relationship 2 years, 3 years down the road, whatever. And what I tell myself in those now moments is, if that may be the case, I want to truly be in the now moments with you and make the most of them in every now moment.
I love that. What I've learned a lot about is the ego. I've known for a while that the ego is here to actually help us grow. And it's not some thing to kill off or something to negate, to transcend. The whole point is the path through the ego to the heart. And what I've learned is that the ego is here to guide us in our experience to take care of ourselves, and always remember that we have a self first that we must take care of. The more I neglect myself, the less I can love you. It may be for a week or two, but eventually I'll start to pull away naturally, and we won't know why. And that's because I'm not taking care of myself, because I love you so much,
Yeah.
But the more I take care of myself, the more I put myself first, which is not to be selfish, but to put what I need to do to maintain the health, wealth, wellness of my body first, then that gives me so much more energy to give to you.
Yes.
And it also, my body then respects you more, because not only am I taking care of my body, but you're also taking care of my body. And together, love is being formed. And now the body trusts you. Now the soul is in love with you. Now we have a foundation for true love and true depth of a relationship to form. And the ego brought me that. The ego showed me that. And he also showed me what I needed to heal, and showed me what fears I had left over from lives past lived. And what's left is, those are all illusions. Those were previous now moments that are not this moment. Those are previous people that are not you. And all those people I can sit here today and be grateful for, because they helped me get ready to put my best foot forward with you. So to me, love is also accepting that you've had losses, accepting that you've had failures, accepting that you've had misses where you just didn't even take the shot. And it's bringing all of those experiences together, putting your best foot forward and going, this is who I am today, and I'm going to start fresh with this person I love, and forgive myself and forgive them for who they used to be, because we are no longer them. And we can become a new person every second of every day that we are breathing in a human body. We can change at any moment. And it often happens that way. So I guess love is also let yourself off the hook. And how have you been able to let yourself off the hook for your perceived limitations or lacks or things that made it hard for you to put 2 feet into the relationship?
Earlier you said something interesting about love is a free fall. And I was going to say it's about letting go of control, of the need to know. And so I'll be vulnerable here. Like, one thing I've been working on is my ego, my human, is afraid, right? That if you do something, say like you cheat on me, that I'm not going to be able to stick up for myself because I love you so much and choose what I feel is best in that moment, whether that be working it out with you or leaving the relationship. And what we come to the conclusion this morning, which I love, is it. And what I was able to tell my human was, I can't guarantee anything, because whatever situation arises is going to decipher what I choose. But I can promise her that I will choose what I feel is best in that moment for her and bring love to her. And so that is how I just came to that conclusion. And that's how I've been able to let go and free fall.
Because you're choosing yourself in the process. You're guaranteeing that you will not forget about yourself because of just the love you feel for me. But as you love yourself more, like you were saying, you do love yourself. The more you love yourself, the more you're able to love me. Yeah. Because you have to love yourself first to fill your own cup. And then once you have this overabundance of love, that's when you attract that other whole. Because you yourself are whole. And now we're becoming more holy together in every moment of every day as we continue to be vulnerable and real. And which this is allowing us to become more vulnerable and real in our life in general, which is attracting a lot of truth, yes. A lot of trueness, a lot of stability and economy for all. And now we're finding people in our life that it's not just you and I that we love. Now these people coming into our lives, we love them as well, and they love us. And it's this truth, this trueness that we're now living in unity. We're starting to live in a collective unity. And it's ones and twosies, but everything grows with time and watering. And so to finish out this conversation on choosing love, you have this picture that you like, where it's there's this guy and he has a wilted plant on his head, and then the woman comes who has a flower on her head that's sprouted, and she comes and waters his plant.
Yes.
And in the next picture over, he has a flower that's sprouted and she's wilted and he's watering her flower. So explain why that was profound to you and take us off with this perspective.
I love that picture so much. Sometimes we just can't water our own garden, and we have to accept that and be okay with that. And for me, it just really reminded me of our relationship, because there's days that I can't love myself and you love me until I can. And vice versa, there's days that you struggle and then I water your garden. And that is true love. Being there for one another. Truly being there for one another. And that means sometimes putting your wants and needs to the side.
It goes back to that ego voice. The ego is always going to have your own back. He or she's probably just not going to be very nice about it. It's not reacting to what your ego wants. It's acknowledging the ego and acknowledging that it itself is scared that it's going to be left out and forgotten, like it has been many, many times in our lifetimes at the expense of ourselves, which cost us dearly in many ways. And so once we're able to let that go and accept that the ego voice is going to say what it's going to say, acknowledge it, but say, no, this is what she needs right now, and we're going to do this because this is what we're doing. And again, that ego voice will start to go away the more that you release the traumas from your past that are reflected in your partner, and also letting go of all the distractions and coping mechanisms that are causing your body to go into crisis mode. What we don't understand is excitement is anxiety. When we're excited, the spirit is excited. Sometimes the human is actually anxious and scared and starts going into these energetic positions that cause us to then cope with distractions. But if we're listening to our body and realize this, we can grow with our partner more effectively by putting the distractions down and being there with them. But to me, choosing love is choosing yourself while choosing the other at the same time, and compromising and finding balance in the 0 point.
When we sit there and we have to sometimes tell our ego, that I know you feel this way, but we're going to do this right now. The more you build that relationship with your human and say, okay, we're going to do this, but because of this, I'm going to give you this later, which is resting or whatever the ego might want, human. And once you do that and then show them that you are going to give them that, the less the human fights you.
Absolutely. And again, there's that ego voice that is destructive, and then there's that ego voice that's constructive.
Yes.
It's deciphering the two and breaking yourself of the mechanisms that are causing you to feed that darker wolf. We have several shadows. It's choosing which shadow to work with and the other one to keep at bay. But instinct is instinct, and we need that too. And that comes around once in a blue moon, if not several blue moons. But that instinct is also needed. So it's learning to balance loving yourself with loving your partner and just loving life in general. If you don't love life, it's because you're distracted. And you need to regain focus and attention to what's real in front of you. And that is those people and those things that you can tangibly do to anchor yourself back into oneness. And that is choosing love.
That is choosing love.
And I love you.
I love you. And for all of you out there, my challenge for you is I want you to observe how much you get on your phone, how much you distract with TV, and not only yourself but others around you. Observe other people in those communications and see it for yourself, how these devices are actually hurting us.
They're the Matrix.
The Matrix.
New Earth is already here for us to create in our now realities, yet we're still living in the old 3D Matrix that is crumbling. But it's not real anymore. We don't want it to be. So choose love and put down distraction. That's all that's left.